coaster. Come along for the ride, yeah. The solar coaster's rolling, it feels so right. Hop on the solar coaster. Come along for the ride.
Aloha, my name is Anna Koger, and this is the Solar Coaster, the wild ride through the solar industry told by the people who are living it every day. In the hot seat with me today is Alex Herrera, a true entrepreneur in the clean energy space and founder of Sun Energy Today, among many other businesses related to the industry. Let's jump right in. Alex, tell me, when did the sun first shine on your solar path?
Oh man, it first shined on me probably about 2017 is when it came on. I was obviously I live in Arizona, so we're surrounded by nothing but sun 24/7, right? Almost 365 days a year. So it'd be crazy for Arizona clients and stuff like that not to have solar. Great opportunity and great to be in that type of business. So yeah, that's when I started that whole role.
And what gave you the crazy idea? I know that you have your Air Park Auto Clinic. You've been in kind of different spaces, finance. How did you decide solar?
Well, it really kind of decided me, to be quite honest. I am quite the serial entrepreneur, and I do own several businesses, as you mentioned. And at the time, I was doing another e-commerce business back in 2015, 2017, in that area. I was doing an e-commerce business, just helping another individual, another entrepreneur, sell stuff online, all kinds of products that he was selling online. I went over to visit and do a conference to some people in El Paso, Texas, selling the concept of the e-commerce business that Tom was developing at the time. And I met these young boys that were in the solar industry, and they were basically selling solar for some of the biggest companies out there, like Titan, Palmetto, Eris Energy, Solar Tops. They were really just they were onboarded with all these companies. And I went there to pitch them on the product that I had, to bring to the table, which was a really exciting product. But at the end of the day, they ended up selling me, and I grabbed onto their shirt tail and jumped on that crazy train, that crazy solar train. It was, and I couldn't believe these guys when I met them were in their early 20s, early to mid 20s, already multimillionaires, just from being in this solar industry and doing what they did. So when they pitched me on it, I figured I was missing out, so I was like, let's jump on board here and see what this is all about. So I did.
Absolutely. And I think one interesting thing is when we first were introduced a couple years ago, your concept was really interesting. It was kind of a solar for all model, right? No credit scores. It was more focused on residential. Things pivoted quickly. Tell me, when did you decide to make this change, and what are you doing now?
We decided to make the change. I believe when we first came on with you, I think it was maybe like 21, 22, somewhere in there. And we were very focused in residential, and obviously that was the market that I knew. And I was comfortable with. So I felt comfortable with pitching that market, knowing what it was all about, knowing what I could save the end user, the customer, putting batteries in their home, doing solar panels, and especially here in Arizona, because we have demand time, and that demand time can get up to 23, 27 cents kWh, so it gets very expensive between the hours of 4 to 7 p.m. And so I was really focused on saving people money, trying to help people out as much as I could, knowing that at the end of the day, your regular middle class person, it's hard to carry a $500-700 utility bill every single month, and that's what it is here in Arizona, especially in the summer times. Um, Unfortunately, in the residential spectrum, it's very hard to stay on top of. You're fighting with the utility companies all the time, because the utility companies they don't want to see you go solar, because they know they're missing out at the end of the day. So they here in Arizona anyway, they make it very difficult. You have to jump through hoops, permits, all kinds of stuff to go through that. So it was a lot more headache and a lot less money, to be quite candid with you. And that's really what shifted for me. Was I got an opportunity to get into the commercial spectrum, building solar farms, doing not only solar farms, but parking structures for resorts, parking structures for churches, schools, things like that. And as I dove deeper and deeper into that, I realized that it was a lot less headache and a lot more money. So my focus shifted because of that. Not to put myself out there like, like I'm money hungry or I've got all this greed for money or anything like that. That's not it at all, because at the end of the day, I'm still helping the individual, but it was just a lot easier to deal with versus dealing with just a small home towards a larger solar project.
Yeah, and I think also, I think that part of it for me, it stands out as, if people don't have any skin in the game, then I think that it doesn't mean as much to them, right? And oh, no credit
Agreed.
score, and you're not responsible, and now all of a sudden they're not paying even that, and it's like, well,
Agreed.
that's not the right audience. That's not the right way to look at this. This is not, free. It's, the sun's free, the equipment's not. And there needs to be the right kind of homeowner will get funding, or will get a loan, they can get a lease, and they need to have that long-term commitment, I think, to make it sustainable.
Yeah, no, and you're absolutely right. And I did run into that as well. We had the whole concept of, hey, I'm going to take all the credit fails. As some of the big companies out there weren't putting solar on your roof if you had under a 650 credit score, and then they dropped it to a 600 credit score. And as they were trying to get more business, so I was focused on the credit fails, being that we were able to become a finance company. So I am the financier, I am the installer, and I am the solar company. And so in carrying all those levels, I figured, I'll help the individual and I'll help the end user, those of them that failed because they wanted solar, they tried to get solar and they wanted solar. So I was really looking at the good in everyone. But you are correct. You turn around and you help these people, and they just, for lack of a better term, it just seems like they're sitting out there with their hand out and waiting for somebody to carry them. And no, they don't look at it as in, oh wow, this company really helped me out, so let's make sure we get them paid.
Right.
They look at it more like, well, I'm owed this, so now that I have it, I don't need to pay. So it just becomes a cat and mouse chase, so it's pretty
Well,
crazy.
definitely, I think we were talking about like the rides, there's a downtime, but now you're kind of on this, and as the industry is changing and you're on the up, and just for everyone who's paying attention right now, Alex has an amazing interview in the Solar Coasters. Make sure to pick up a copy. And some of the things that I think are most exciting about what you shared with us in the book are some of your unique funding opportunities. Because now everyone in the industry is talking about, oh, the federal tax credit stepping down, and commercials close on the heel. It's not this year, but it's close. Tell us about the EB5 and some of these other unique ways that you found that you can do financing that people might not be aware of.
Yeah, I mean, from a financing standpoint, I deal with um, a lot of investors just on the lending side. They're not really hard money lenders, but they do like investing in clean energy and clean energy spectrum, right? And the beautiful thing about people like that is that there are grants out there that you can still get for clean energy. Example, I have some big projects in Louisiana that are already up and running that were, as of right now, because we invested that money in Louisiana and it's already spent, the state of Louisiana is paying you that money back in grant money and putting it back in your pocket. You don't necessarily have to spend that money up front. But you could apply for the grant. The only difference there is that if you apply for the grant, then you definitely need to spend the money in that state and put it into that economy. But there are other programs out there that finance big projects in big scale projects, and one of them is the EB5 program. I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's an immigration program, for people that want to move into the United States. There's I think back a couple of years ago, it was at $800,000 per head. Now it's at $1 million per head. So let's say you have a family of 5, it would cost you $5 million to join the EB5 platform. It is all ran through EB5 representatives, EB5 attorneys, and what they do is they're out there selling the EB5 program to individuals that are reputable, trying to bring good people to the United States that are willing to invest into the United States economy. What that does is that that solidifies you 40% of your solar project. So let's just use an easy number. For example, you have $1 million project, solar batteries, turbines, gas turbines, maybe even hydrogen these days. All those are platforms that EB5 does fund. The catch with EB5 nowadays is that you do have to show that you have the project. Number one, you have land acquisition. Number two, and number three is you have the 60% money already solidified. Even if it's in an LOI format, you need to show that, and you need to show that you have it in order for EB5 to even, I guess, take a look at you.
And it's got to be in a certain area, right? Like a low income area.
Correct.
Like
It does need to be in a. Yep, they're called opportunity zones. And for those of you that don't know, if you Google just the EP5 program, government program, United States funding program, it'll all pop up on the internet. You can go to opportunity zones and see what zones are what. If you're looking to do big projects and in big scale and you're looking for some funding, that's a really good way to go.
Yeah. And you also do some things with family lawyers and different things I think that people don't necessarily think about. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yep. We commingle with some family offices. Basically it's law firms that are well off in different states, all within this country and different states, but it's law firms that are doing well. I guess I could just say they're doing well. They're bringing in some really good money, and it's big opportunity for them to go hybrid. And by hybrid, I mean find big projects like data centers. Most law firms and family offices are big scale. They want to know that you're doing. If you're going to bring a family office in like that, they want to know that you're doing up in the $250 million, $500 million sector of that industry. And 9 times out of 10, they already know about the EB5 program, and they already know how to solidify those things because they're attorneys, they're a firm. They might even have their own EB5 platform within their firm, and the flow is a lot easier to manage that way. But yeah, to answer your question, for those of you that are looking for funding again, you could always do an approach to law firms and family offices. You're already at no, so you never know. They might be interested in looking to put their money somewhere and looking for other opportunities.
Yeah. So what do you think's going to happen here? What is your take on the industry in general with what's going on with the tax credits stepping down and what do you think's what do you think's next?
That's a really good question. And, everybody's got their opinion. Everybody's got their view, right? So you're asking me, so I'll give you my view.
Yeah.
Is I think that, and again, this is my opinion, my view. This is nowhere in writing or anything like this. But I think that our administration that's there now, I think that in the past there was a lot of fraud going on with the ITCs. I think there was a lot of people that were claiming ITCs and claiming that they had them and making money through their tax stores and things like that. And there was just a lot of fraudulent things going on. And again, people making money that they shouldn't have been making. And I believe that the administration is tightening that rope and is looking at the ITCs more of trying to weed out those that were, so to speak, maybe riding the gray, I guess I'll say, and and weeding those people out and those companies out. Hence, that don't even have to mention any names, is, whoever knows the solar industry out there knows what companies have fallen off, and stuff like that. And I don't know that it was because of reasons like that, but it's just, you start.
It reminds me of Solar City, right? I mean, that's
Right.
kind of the original. When we think about the original fraudsters, it was that.
Right.
That
You
they
did. I didn't know.
have that story in the book too. So
Yeah.
my Marcus, he was living it when Sunrod, and they're like, how can they have such a low rate? And it was
Right.
because of that fraud, right?
Right.
It was uncovered. So
Right. And so there was a lot of that going on with the income tax credits too.
I bet.
So to answer your question, I think what's happening here, and I have a pretty good gut feeling about it. I think what's happening here is I think that the administration is restructuring the ITCs. I think they're weeding out all the people that need to be weeded out, and only the strong are going to survive. Those that are doing things properly, like our company, we're doing it correctly, and we're doing things correctly, and we have been. And I think once everything weeds out, I think they're going to turn it back on, because there's just too much money to lose out there, and all the way into politics. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's just too much. It's too much. And there's just no way they're going to be able to get rid of it. I think they tightened down the belt to say, oh, it's going to go away by, end of 2026, 27, as far as ITCs go. And you got to get projects in now. Why? Because they want to see who's real.
Yeah.
But I think that once they weed that out, I think they'll reopen it again and probably restructure it, and maybe not come in as strong as a 30%, ITC, but maybe restructure again in the low 20s or something like that and go from there.
I think you're right, because and on the same token, I mean, solar is too good to. It doesn't. We don't really need the tax credit. Sure, is it the way to get the rest of the way there? It is, but it's not like it's with this convergence that's happening of utilities continuing to soar, right? And then you're there at Arizona, like every single year, in October and November, or is it September, October? You have the SRP and the APS doing their step down, right? Their grandfather clause, and it's going down every single year, right? And it continues to go down. And TEP, I don't even think they even have any more credit. Do they have any more buyback there?
I don't think they do. And I think on the residential side, nobody's buying back any more credit. Hence why you're better off putting a battery in your house and hold on to your own power as much as you can, right? Especially if you have solar. Even if nobody's buying it back anymore.
No, buy back.
They're buying it back on commercial scale, but on commercial scale, a minimum 10 megawatts. So if you're not building at least 10 megawatts, utility companies aren't interested.
I bet.
They're just not. They're not interested. You need to. They want to see that you're building something substantial, to where if you're going to give them you're going to give them a turn of the key, or give them the key to hold, and use the power whenever they want. They want to know that they have good quality power there. The other thing that's really big right now, and it has been for the past few years, I'd say maybe let's go back a couple of years, is battery storage farms. That's huge. That's huge. I mean, if you can build a battery storage farm and 10 megawatts or more, utility companies will jump all over that, and they will sign a contract with you to pay you for that power.
And that's also included in the tax credit extension, right? The energy storage for commercial.
That is correct, especially on the battery side. It is, yeah. It's I believe it's a 48E credit, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
It went from 48 to 48E.
And what about some of this commercial EV charging? What do you think is going to happen there?
I think that's still a really good. There's still credits for that as well. That's not good. That's not going away as of right now either. It's very lucrative from a finance standpoint, from an ROI standpoint. And the reason for that, especially in the demand power state, for example, here in Arizona, it's very low to buy the power from, even if you don't have solar, to buy the power from the utility company and then resell that power through obviously the EV charger itself. give you a prime example, and this is going to this might blow you away, but it's real. In Louisiana, we have an option right now to do some EV chargers at LSU, at the University of LSU. We buy the power from LSU or not from LSU, but from the utility company, Louisiana utility company, to power up those EV chargers at I think it's at 62 cents, something like that, or 262. Ah, God, I'm sorry. I can't remember the exact amount. I'm confused. But I do know for a fact that you can sell that power back at like $4 to $6.
Yeah,
Okay,
I remember that. I think we have that in your blog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just can't remember the exact numbers, but it's crazy.
It was substantial. It was like 60 cents a kilowatt, and then they could sell it for like 7 times more or something.
Yes, it's the same thing as gasoline, right? I mean, you're at the gas pump, you're paying what, $4 depending on where you're at. I mean, you're in California, you're paying $6 a gallon. So same thing, same concept. You know, the beauty of it is that these EV chargers, especially these super cap EV chargers, they've got great battery storage in them. You know, so because of the super cap ones have great battery storage in them, you're able to buy that power and just sit there and store that power until somebody uses it.
And those are those batteries that you're telling me that like they can recharge within 15 minutes.
Yeah, they're
They're
super capacitor graphene batteries.
graphene.
Yep, it's a graphene battery form, and it's you remember those old receivers, like those Magnavox receivers and stuff, like music receivers, radio receivers? They're like that. Yep, they're literally that size, you know, and you stack them. They make them all the way up to 15.1 kWs right now, kWhs right now, and you stack them, you know, as far as you put them in a container and you just create one big battery source, you know, so they're really good. They discharge right away. They charge up right away. And you do get a full discharge and a full charge out of them as opposed to lithium. It takes a lithium battery to charge almost an hour, depending on what type of battery it is, you know, and you don't get a full discharge out of it. At max, you might get 70%. You know, so the other 30% just sits there all the time. You can never get a full discharge out of it. So it's
high efficiency. Yeah, I think really what I hope the industry is going to do is start to really turn this around as an educational component. Like if here you have, you know, you're a marina or you're a mall or you're a grocery store, and you're not using this underutilized space, this opportunity for your asset to be creating more, not just, you know, shade for the parking structure, but attracting that customer. If everyone starts having EVs and I can go shopping at 2 places, where am I going to go? I'm going to go where I can charge my vehicle quickly and effectively.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yep, yeah, and I mean they're all over the place now, right? So
Yeah.
yep, totally makes sense.
So, for everyone who's paying attention, you can learn more about Alex. He's got a full blog on the solarcoasterbook.com, and he's also in the book. And if you want to get a hold of him, you can find him on LinkedIn, where all of his companies are there. And anything else you want to add, Alex?
No, just definitely growing. Anna, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. You're awesome. So thank you so much for having us, and thank you for everything you do for us. We do appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here today. And for all my listeners, please join me next week as I interview another industry expert in a topic to help you succeed the ride across the solar coaster. I will see you next week in the Pixel. Aloha.
Thanks, guys.
Where the sunshine meets stories and bright futures collide. We're sparking up ideas with laughter and light. The solar